indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first off, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Ayers Reese.
Present.
Councilman Golick.
Here.
Councilman George.
Here.
Councilman Graziani.
Present.
Councilman Cuspa.
Here.
And Councilman Rush.
Here.
Just first like to welcome everyone here. We very appreciate your interest in getting involved with the city. This is a special occasion once again. We've done this twice in the past very short time, and that's very rare. So there's a couple things we have to approve before we start your interview process. First being the candidates who are qualified based on the requirements that you applied for when you turned in your application, and the second being the process itself with the questions and how we're going to go through all the interview processes. So that being said, the first item on communications A is a memo from the administrator regarding the establishment of list of applicants to be considered for appointment. Madam Clerk, or Mr. Drysdale, whoever wants to do it.
Thank you for helping me because. Okay, I'm not gonna. Before the application deadline for the city council vacancy, the clerk's office received 16 applications. Those applications, along with any attachments, were shared with the city council on Friday, August 23rd. One applicant has an outstanding late fee for a water bill. After consulting with the city attorney, the administration finds that applicant ineligible according to the strict interpretation of the application requirements. And then there is a list of all the eligible applicants. Do you want me to read those?
I think that would be
Just the name?
permissible, yeah.
Okay. Benjamin Patton, Clifford Morris Miller, Henry Laurent, Heather Panaj Osman, Bade Akinjadi, Victoria Araj, Dale Badco, Andrew Mall, Kirk Hayhurst, Elizabeth Carey, Robert Lafife, Suzanne Straub, Adrian Price, Veronica John Checky, and Gary Martin.
Okay.
There's more. Wait, page 2. Oh, I'm good.
Okay. With that, I'd entertain a motion from council to approve the applicants.
Madam Chairman,
Councilman Roush.
I make a motion, we approve the applicants that applied for the position for the open city council seat read by the clerk.
Support.
Motion by Roush, supported by George. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Next is a memo from the administrator regarding the proposed interview and appointment process for council vacancy. Madam Clerk.
The administration recommends using the same process that was previously approved by council and used to fill the most recent vacancy. That process is as follows. After a council resolution to establish the process, qualified applicants will be sequestered in the caucus room and will be called in one at a time to be interviewed. After an applicant is interviewed, the applicant may remain in the audience. The city clerk will ask the previously established questions and city attorney, I'm sorry, thank goodness it isn't me, will ask the previously established questions, and applicants will have no more than 3 minutes to respond to each question. After all applicants have been interviewed, council members will provide their top 3 choices in writing to the city clerk. Each choice will be given a point value. First, 3 points, second, 2 points, third, 1 point. The city clerk will read aloud the responses of each council member and tabulate the results. If there is a clear winner, the council will appoint that individual. If there is a tie, each council member may ask one additional question to the top placing applicants. Council will then revote in the same method previously used. Once an applicant is named, the administration recommends a background check to be completed to validate the applicant's application prior to taking the oath of office.
Okay. With that, I would need a motion to approve the proposed interview and appointment process for the council vacancy.
Madam Chair,
Councilwoman
I
George.
move that we approve the proposed interview and appointment process for council vacancy.
Support. A motion by George, supported by Ayers Reese. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. That being said, we will start the interview process here. Mr. Drysdale, you were the one to bring everyone into the caucus room, and then one by one we will call the applicants in the order that they applied for, that they turned in their application. But with that being said, I think Ben's the first one. So, I mean, Ben Patton, you can stay.
You get
And there are snacks and refreshments in there for, yeah, someone going to be staying for a while.
One sec.
He's, yeah, whoever he could turn to the person.
Perfect.
Are they sitting or coming to the podium?
They come to the podium.
You want him to come to the podium?
That way they don't have to flip the mics around.
Okay, we can come to the
Yeah,
podium.
okay.
I prefer that they come to the
Yeah.
auditorium so we
po-
can hear them
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But this is fine.
Stopping him from charging. Stopping him from charging.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, is this? Hello? Okay, perfect.
It is.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, I'm just gonna get the 3 minutes. Okay, Benjamin, if you want to step up here.
And then, will you be taking time? Okay, cool.
For each one, and then will they have to stay there?
Sure. Yeah. Well, tell us about yourself. They'll probably introduce.
Being here, this is a lot easier than walking through the doors.
All right. Okay, so we are going to start. You'll have 3 minutes per question, okay? You don't have to take up all that time, though, okay? All right. Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
What motivated me to apply, obviously, I've been in the community since I was born and raised here. I'm a young entrepreneur, and can you reread the question? Sorry.
Yes. Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
What made me apply was I want to be a member of the city council, and be a leader in this community. I would like to find a mentorship program for the youth and combine that with bringing our community together as a city of Southgate. As a young leader in this community, it would mean the world to me to be a leader for the city.
Okay. Tell us about your community involvement.
Amelia, there was one. Number 2, tell us about your life experience. What makes you?
Oh, I have,
Do you still have 5?
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter as long as.
Yeah, I
you
guess
read
that's
some
fine.
of
I just want to
them.
make sure. I just want to make sure you didn't skip that one. We're good.
okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Tell us about your community involvement.
First started my company, my landscaping company, Goodfellas Property Maintenance. One of the first things I wanted to do was do the Southgate streetscape that Zoe talked about recently that the community was helping do. It meant the world to me. And from there, that was a stepping stone to getting my name in the community, showing what good I wanted to do for the community. That was my stepping stone. And from there, I want to, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes. Tell us about your community involvement.
Most community involvement I have. Other than that, I know I said earlier, and excuse me for sounding a little nervous, but I really do want to connect with the youth of our community and make sure that young kids are getting the proper mentorship to be successful in the future.
Okay. Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
As a young man, I've been kind of born into an entrepreneurship lifestyle. I've always been a leader from a young age, and a lot of my friends or kids our age, I've been in the work field with them. I've been a leader. Excuse me again, being a little nervous. This is something for me to grow, and I understand I may not be the most qualified, but I do want to grow with the position, and I've done that before. Leading older gentlemen and women at a younger age is something that I was taught at a young age, so that's what makes me feel qualified for this.
Okay. What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
Well, the one thing you guys can expect from me tonight is back with the position. Excuse me again for being a little nervous, I'm sorry. I would like to grow. I don't have necessarily an agenda to bring to the council. I would like to be mentored and grow with the position and, can you repeat again, please?
Yes, absolutely. What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
And I know I've kind of, I don't want to sound too repetitive, but getting with the youth and getting the youth the proper mentorship, education, and extracurricular activities aside from, just being so technology driven. And like I said, I don't have necessarily a set plan of goals. I'm here to learn and grow with my community.
Okay. There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
I feel like we are all here as members of the community to fill all the holes in the ship. Though there may be disagreements, we're all here for a single purpose, to unite the community together.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Patton.
Thank you.
So you may stay in the audience if you'd like.
It's the hot potato. It's the hot potato chair, just.
Just to let council know, we have a little break here. We were really kind of sweating this meeting tonight because the power was out last night and didn't get in and on until what time today? Probably 11, 12 o'clock?
Yeah, make 11:30.
Yeah, so it was kind of one of those things, we were thinking about putting generators and lights in here and everything else, but thank goodness DTE came through for us this time. Yeah, well, there might be somebody that's not here, because there wasn't 15
I'll tell him
people
when he
in
gets
the
back.
Shorter, maybe he's trying to get steps in.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
That's it.
'Cause I thought I just stood through that door. No, you're good. I just want to make sure you didn't skip that because on ours it was a second. That was the third one, so I just want to make sure you didn't skip.
Got it. No problem.
I don't either, so. Maybe we should just put it. We don't have the right one here, so it's. I think this is the third, Morris.
Mr. Drysdale, was Clifford Morris Miller not present?
He was not.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll have, like, we should have probably, state your name and address, please, and then, Ms. Zelnick will begin the questions.
My name is Henry Laurent. I live at 136 Road, Southgate.
Okay. Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
That I just moved into the city back last year in June. I like the city. I remember when I was little going through Trenton Road because my mom had to take classes at Anderson High School to get her GED. And I just remember looking at that specific street, just passing by, looking at all the houses because they're great. I used to live in Lincoln Park. And it motivated me because I can do a lot of things. Maybe not a lot of things, but I can have a voice and listen to other people what they have to say about Park City.
Tell us about your community involvement.
My community involvement is mostly has been through things, just my city, actually all my neighbors around me know that even if they don't list their house to me or anything, I'm open to any questions they have, because people get lost on the process. I also do a lot of helping people that don't speak English. I translate for them for free, basically. Because sometimes they didn't have the opportunity to go to school or go to a place where they can learn.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Again, as a real estate agent, listen to people. I have to, it's my job. I have to take whatever they think, whatever is best for them. Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Then I moved here with my sister. Sorry, in 2016, she moved to the Southgate subdivision, and that's when I found out the city. I moved into the U.S. when I was 13 years old. I was born in Mexico and raised in Mexico. Now I became a U.S. citizen, and I really love our country, basically.
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
They can expect me to basically listen to everyone, because sometimes it's not just what I think, it's what everyone thinks. And if they have anything that they think I should hear from them, because I'm new to this, so some things I don't know how they work, I would like to learn and be open to whatever they have to say to me.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
If I'm part of an unpopular decision, I have just sometimes have to do what's right, not what's popular. So if something is right and everyone in the city council believes it's right, I'm not the person to be telling them anything otherwise. Can you repeat the other?
Yes. So for being part of an unpopular decision and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with.
Well, if they vote in a way that it's their opinion, it's their life. They have been through different scenarios of things that have happened in their life, and I choose whatever the vote is, then it should be the vote of everyone. So everyone's voice has to be heard, and I wouldn't be mad about it, because it's just, we're just managing the city in a way. So yeah, I don't think I would be mad or anything like that. I would just respect everything that they have to say and the way they work.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Laurent. Mr. Drysdale, would it be easier for you to just go through the back way?
Probably.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Laurent, you're able to stay in the audience. If you, okay, cool. Yeah.
Turn it up. Is council having any problem hearing? That doesn't seem like it's a very live.
Would you keep time? I can keep time, but
You want to keep time? Somebody else to keep time? You want to keep time?
are you sure?
Okay, council, if she would come here and then just have the person sit and use that microphone?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Is that okay with everyone?
We don't believe it's being recorded
Yes.
very well.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
questions that are going to be asked to your right, please address council. with your answers.
Spin it. So, Ms. Pinage Osmond?
Yes.
Okay, please, when you sit down, please state your name and address, and then Ms. Zelnick will begin the questions.
Heather Panache Osmond, 15042 Oxford Court.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
I am a social worker. I am working for the Senior Alliance. I am out in the community. I go to our residents' homes, and I hear what they say, and how they feel so vulnerable and not being able to make a difference. I just felt that I needed to do something more for them. So I decided that I was going to apply. A lot of individuals are homebound, and I'm sometimes the only person that they get to see every 6 months or every 3 months. So when I go there, I try to help them as much as possible to stay independent in their homes, and I just listen to their voices, and I try to make a difference, and I try to make them comfortable. And my neighbor actually is the one who sent me a text message, and he said, I think this would be great for you. So I decided to say, you know what? I live in the community, I work in the community, I shop in the community, I eat in the community, and we do tons of activities in the community. Why not?
Tell us about your community involvement.
Like I was saying, being a social worker, a case coordinator, I'm in the homes of our residents. My children play football, my daughters do cheerleading, we do gymnastics, I'm engaging with the residents, I talk to the parents, I talk to the grandparents. So I'm really involved in a lot of one-on-ones with our individuals that live in Southgate. So I have a tendency to kind of just listen, hear what they have to say, and just see how I can help.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
I spent a big portion of my life at the Senior Alliance, being a caseworker, being a support specialist, working with Medicare, and just being out in the community, talking to people, engaging, finding out what they need, providing resources, and just seeing how I can make their life a little bit better.
What goals would you like to accomplish, and if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
I'm a mother of 4, 2 adult children, 2 small children that are still in school. I believe that our city is just wonderful, and it has progressed so much, and I cannot wait to watch it continue to do that. And I'm so glad that my older children are part of, they're proud to be part of Southgate, and I want that to continue. So my goal is just to keep the progress of Southgate going forward and making sure that our residents and our children are proud of the city that they live in.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
I get yelled at by old people all the time, so I'm okay with that. I am very patient. I'm calm. I work with a large population between, you know, working with my children and working with older adults in our community. So I have a calm manner into where I can accept criticism.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're able to stay in the audience if you'd like.
They should be. Yeah, she's the only person who's been close is her first answer was about 2 minutes, but I think it's going along rather smoothly.
I think I was using like I don't know what I'm doing here right now.
She's a neighbor and you didn't even know it.
You're right, right on the corner.
Hello. Please come here to take a seat. Please state your name and address, and then Ms. Zelnick will start the questioning.
My name is Bade Akinjide.
And what's your address? I'm sorry.
Bade,
Your address.
15525 Meadow, Southgate, Michigan.
Thank you.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
Number one, my name is Bade Akinjide, like I said. I live in Southgate, and when I saw the opening, my life has always been about service. I have my business in Southgate. I own the farmers insurance on Northline over there, and have investment in Southgate, a couple of real estate properties. And then I just believe in this city because I've been here for over 25 years. In this city. And I know the benefits that I've reaped from this city. And I'm looking forward for the opportunity to give back to the society as well. Not only that, I pastor a local church here. And then as a result of that, I'm looking for another opportunity and avenue to be able to give back to the city that has given so much to me.
Tell us about your community involvement.
Good. In year 2020, 2021, our church gave out food for the people. We pitched our tent on North Line, right opposite Farmers Insurance, whereby we were given the passerby, we were giving them foods, groceries, everything that time. We did that one for 2 years, 2020 and 2021.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Come again, please.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Okay, good. Number one, I'm a Southgate resident. I've been here, like I said, for 25 years, living here for 25 years. And then, of course, I'm older than 80 years. So, come to look at it in year 2020, I had the privilege of meeting the city administrator when I wanted to purchase a property. And the way the city helped me to acquire the property cannot be overemphasized. And I said, this is the kind of city, because the business will have, probably will have taken my business out of the city, notwithstanding that I've been here for a long time. But what the city is doing, I said I would like to be part of what is going on in order to see a way whereby I can add to what they have been doing already.
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
I would say that there is no personal goal that I want to accomplish other than to continue with what the city has been doing. The city has been moving in the right direction, and then to continue the path, and then being a pastor to understanding the need of the people and taking pragmatic steps towards achieving those things. So there is no personal goal other than to continue in the direction the city has been going, because the city has been great.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
That is part of the package. Because of the conflicting interests, that's why we have politics. Things cannot always go your way. So we just have to understand that we have conflicting interests, but we disagree to agree. The most important thing is that we are working towards the same goal, to achieve and to better the city that we live in. Whatever we move the city forward, it's not who is right or what is right, but whatever will bring us forward, then I'm up for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're free to sit in the audience for the rest of the interviews if you'd like.
Thank you.
Something in my eye that's driving me nuts. It's not a few minutes. Keeping stuff. Would you remind me?
Good evening, everyone.
Get your name and address, and then Ms. Zelnick will begin the question.
All right, my name is Victoria Arridge, and my address is 14036 Flanders.
Okay. I will be asking the questions, but please address council, okay?
Okay.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
Okay. So outside of college, I've been a lifelong resident of Southgate, and I've always been interested in public service. So my undergraduate degree is in journalism and political science. My master's is in public administration, and it's always been important for me to kind of stay in touch with what's going on in the community and what's important to people. I wanted to apply for this because I think that I have a lot of skills in both my work experience and my life experience that can help break down a lot of the complex things that happen in government and give people an opportunity to better understand what it is that is happening. I think a lot of times people feel like they can't get things done, or they don't know how to start, or when they should show up to meetings or get involved. And I really would like to encourage people to get excited about government again and not see it as something that's prohibitive or boring, but something that's an ally to the community and someone you can actually work with. So that's kind of what inspired me to come here today.
Tell us about your community involvement.
So as far as community involvement, a lot of the volunteering that I've done has been usually through my my work employment. That we do a lot of community outreach, a lot of nonprofit organizations, so Gleaners, the Veterans Kitchen downtown, the Greening of Detroit, those types of things. But here more locally, when I've had the opportunity to do that, I've participated in things like the Southgate Historical Commission. I was on the commission for a term. For the St. Pius Church, I've been on the parish council for 4 years. I taught catechism for 7 years, and I am currently on the budget committee for St. Pius. And I've also been president of the Pizzo Estates Homeowners Association for the last 3 years.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Sure. So I think I have a couple different things that I can highlight. So one, I've spent the last 19 and a half years focusing on editorial content for brands, and I lead a very successful team doing that in a highly regulated industry. Also, I interned for Congressman John Dingell in Washington, D.C., and also for Governor Granholm as her communications intern. So I've got experience on both the federal level and the state level, and I would like to do a little bit more on the government level in a more local setting. I also think that I appreciate diversity. I appreciate differences in thought, and I think it's really important to have a variety of people on the council that represent and reflect the community that we live in. I think having, a lot of different perspectives, whether you're single, whether you've got a family, whatever it might be, all of those things really play a role in how you come to the table and the issues that resonate with you. And I'm hoping that I can tap into, a group of folks that are maybe in my age group that maybe just don't care anymore, or maybe a little disconnected. I'd love to bring them more into the, conversation and see them be the next wave of people that want to lead too. I also have like a very strong moral and ethical compass. It's very important for me to make good decisions, and I always think about the effect that it has on people. So I take the time to research. That's obviously very important to me as a journalist too, but to research things, to understand both sides of every story, and to make sure that good decisions are made and the least amount of people are negatively impacted. That's very important to me.
What goals would you like to accomplish, and if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
Well, I kind of touched a little bit on that already, but I feel like my goal would be, one, to engage people and ensure that they're excited about being part of the process. I think just the fact that a lot of people have shown up here tonight is also a good sign that we're moving toward that direction. I think it's very necessary to have an engaged group of residents that care about where they live and come to the things when they want to talk about a certain issue or whatever it might be. So I would want to highlight that. I also think there could be more outreach from the council with the community. So maybe you could even have designated areas, like a certain amount of streets, and you have like an outdoor gathering and you invite people to come and meet you on an individual one-on-one basis. I think it would be really great to have someone say like, yes, I know Christian Graziani, or yes, I know Karen George. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there to have those one-on-one relationships built with people across the city and not just the immediate areas where you might specifically live. I will listen. I'm a big contributor, but I am also a good listener, and I am also someone who likes to have all the possible, outcomes that could happen before me so that I can make a good decision. So what the council and what residents could get from me is knowing that I would consider all of the facts before I make a decision, and that I would think about the impact it would have on people. And I think besides contributing, I would be a listener, a learner, and someone that would want to continue to grow in this role, considering it is a limited time right now, but I would try to maximize my time as best I could.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
That happens a lot in life, right? So I kind of look at things as I try not to emphasize the who and focus on the what. So what is it that we're talking about, not who is delivering the message or what that might be. I like to focus on what is the outcome, why did we get there? If something is considered unfavorable, why? Why is it an unfavorable decision? What were the factors that led to that decision? What were the reasons why it's considered to be unfavorable by the public? And have we thought about all of those things? And I think once you talk about what are the impacts for everyone that could possibly be affected by something, whether it's positive or negative, and you understand what those are, and you come prepared with a rationale for why you made that decision, then you can approach both the public and we can talk amongst ourselves, whether we agree or disagree, that we have a fair rationale and a reason why we feel confident in this decision. And so it kind of helps to focus on the what and not the why, and not make it personal, but about what's important.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for replying. You may please stay in the audience if you choose to.
Thank you so much.
It doesn't do anything to our brakes. It's really raining out there.
I'm good.
It was a part of it, yeah. Yes, sir. You think it's just the blower? Oh, I hope so.
Sounds like
Yeah, it's just the blower. That's a heavy rain again.
air's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, please take a seat. State your name and address, and then Ms. Delnick will begin the questions.
Very good. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dale Patko, and I'm here to interview for the open seat.
And then just your address one.
13254 Kimberly Street.
Okay, I'll be asking the questions, but please address council, okay?
Of course.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
Very simply, love of Southgate. I could live anywhere. I've traveled for work all across the country. I've had the opportunity to relocate for work. I've decided to pass on those things to keep my ties to the community. My family has lived in Southgate uninterrupted since 1958, when my parents designed and built their first house on what we would call Old Kennebec. Old Kennebec being towards Pennsylvania Road. And choosing to live here, I've seen some of the improvements. I would like to commend everyone involved in the recent improvements the last few years. I particularly enjoy the new sidewalk coming out of Lions Park and heading west. That's been very nice. That was muddy before.
Tell us about your community involvement.
Sure. Two particular things I would like to highlight was in 2005, 2006, and 2007, I was a volunteer t-ball coach. And then some years later, about 10 years later, once my kids became a little older, I taught martial arts with my wife at the Southgate YMCA. And I did that for about a year and a half with my wife. We decided to pass that on to another instructor when my older son was having some medical issues and my parents were in medical decline. So we gave up the position after that amount of time. That's the two recent most Southgatey examples.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Sure. Well, I've been a lifelong educator, trying to build communities and nurture individuals to build up their lives and have a positive effect on each other and the communities in which they choose to live. My first teaching experience goes back 41 years to when I was a teenager, teaching people how to defend themselves, which I think makes them confident in the way they move through life. And I've gone on to teach in several contexts, and I see teaching as a way to help people form a life that is meaningful for themselves, who they care about, and the causes they espouse.
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
Well, I'll answer the second half first, if I may, and it's very simply a philosophy of do whatever it takes. A lot of times you can describe what needs to be done in general when you have the advantage of time, and sometimes things come up on short notice, and you have to decide with integrity and act with reliability. This makes people build trust and respect, which is a two-way street. Please repeat the first part of the question.
What goals would you like to accomplish?
Well, admittedly, I have zero criticisms with how the city is being run, which is why I continue to live here. And I think we should continue a lot of what has been going on, a lot of what I would call infrastructure improvements. If we have schools that are in decline, we don't want them to become a visual blight upon the city. So if there's a building like the old Burns School that can be demolished and repurposed, that's prudent. And I think the greenery areas, if we can perhaps enhance and expand the parks that we have, maybe acquire even some private land and turn it into a public park type of setting, that's good. And I also think we should really emphasize the interstate exit area. That is our only exit from an interstate in Southgate, exit 37. I always know I'm 37 miles from Ohio, right? And I'd like to see that area, I would say within, let's call it a half a mile circle around those exits, because it's a two-part exit. I would like to see that continue to be enhanced and showcased. I think that will let people that fly into town and choose to stay downriver. You'll notice the increase in downriver hotels the last few years. People that are coming from all over the world for big city business with the city of Detroit, they might be staying right down the street, in fact, right near that corridor. And I think we should make it our jewel that people will see passing through.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
Sure. Well, it's difficult to decide if somebody is truly upset or if they're just trying to feel heard. I think a lot of times people will project frustration because they feel that they're not being heard. And if that's the case, what they really feel is that they're not being respected. So people have to be heard. They have to be respected. For 8 years, I taught 2 nights a week at DeVry University, and my 2 favorite classes play right into that question, and that's critical thinking and problem solving and managing conflict in the workplace. And it starts with respect. You make sure people are heard. You objectively review the information. You vote your conscience, but in a way that you think is going to have the most good for the residents.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I would like to emphasize one thing if I have time remaining on my 3 minutes.
Is that permissible? Is that?
We're allowed 3 minutes per question. Is that acceptable? And what's the time remaining on this response?
2 minutes.
May I have those 2 minutes?
If the council's okay with this, yes, Ms. Zelnick, that's,
As long as council's okay.
council's okay with this, yes, 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 okay, yes, please, continue.
Less than 2 should be fine. I thank you kindly. So I would like to read one endorsement. So I maintain an active LinkedIn profile, linkedin.com/n/Dale Batko if you choose to go there. And what you'll notice is you will see 40 unsolicited recommendations and endorsements that speak to my character, number 1, and my professionalism, number 2. I have 2 here. If the council will accept the document, I will provide copies. If it's not permissible, I'll take them with me. You tell me when I'm done speaking. I'd like to read this from Guy Goodlow, a business-to-business sales manager. Dale Batko is an outstanding professional. I had the pleasure of having an office right next to his classroom while working at DeVry. Every day I learned something new about computers, business, and life. He is more than just a professor. He is someone with extensive knowledge about his craft and wisdom about life. Dale would teach you something that you never knew and inspire you to be the best that you can be. While I was his coworker and studying for my MBA, he tutored me pro bono in accounting and statistics so I could pass. He sat with me till I understood. I would not have passed those classes without him and probably would have not earned my MBA. I would not have earned those classes without MBA. Dale is a great professor, a great man, and I offer Dale my full endorsement. Am I allowed to submit this as an exhibit, or is that not permissible?
I think that everything that was meant to be submitted was supposed to be submitted by Friday, so I would.
Okay, I didn't realize, so no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Batko.
With that, I thank you and have a wonderful evening.
And you may please join the audience.
I will. You should save for a picture after. You put some shoes in the front and the middle, just dress us around as a community.
If everybody stays, we can do that. If everybody stays.
That's good.
Hi. Please take a seat at the microphone and please state your name and address, and then Ms. Zelnick will start the questions.
My name is Andrew Mall. My address is 18924 Superior Street.
I will be asking the questions, but please address council, okay?
Perfect, thank you.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
Well, obviously you guys have my bio and statements and things like that. I always like to start with, I'm a parent, I'm a husband, I have 3 children, obviously live in the city, and my kids go to Southgate schools, so that's who I am as far as my situation in the city. I am a physical therapist by training, but currently I practice a little bit of physical therapy, but I'm an educator at Wayne State University, college professor. I teach physical therapy, and I've been doing that for about 5 years. Had a variety of jobs through the years as a physical therapist and as an educator. I do a lot of things, a lot of projects, a lot of boards and commissions and task forces and things like that. I love being involved. I love the energy that comes with a new project. So people are constantly asking me, will you sit on this board? Will you sit on this, committee at work and things like that? Because I like the process of generating ideas. And so that's a little bit about me, kind of what I do. And the second half of the question was why?
What motivated you to apply?
Oh, what motivated me to apply? So for me, it's it's all about service. Everything that I do goes back to kind of serving whatever the I'm doing at the time. And I've really thought about service to the city, municipal government service for a long time. I've been on the Parks and Rec Commission I was on the Parks and Rec Commission for about 2.5, maybe 3 years, and then just recently moved over to the Plan Commission, which has been really interesting and great because I'm learning so much. I was just saying before the meeting started that I'm just trying to be a sponge and just trying to pick up all these things and learn about some of the different communities in the city. I was born and raised in the city, so I've been here pretty much my whole life, except outside of a few years. But, we chose to come back. And it was, so again, what motivates me to be on the council is just that sense of service. As a physical therapist, we have core values, and we talk about our core values. And some of these core values are things like altruism and duty and service and social responsibility. And that's actually one of my favorite things to teach to my students. Of course, I'm teaching them the technical things about being a physical therapist, but I really love talking about the profession from up here and kind of saying, like, this is who we are. This is what we should be doing to give back to the people that we want to serve. Everyone that goes to be a physical therapist does it because they want to help others. So that's where we started from, right? And so I kind of feel that this is an extension of that.
That's the time.
Perfect. Tell us about your community involvement.
So I kind of mentioned a little bit of it already. As far as in the city, so again, born and raised in the city, I came up through the Southgate school system. I knew Mr. Golick. He was my neighbor growing up, so that was kind of fun when the last time when I heard that he was going to be getting appointed to the council. I said, well, if it couldn't be me, I was very happy that it was Mr. Golick. So my involvement in the city. So again, I've always done things. I've always been a very involved person. So I don't know if Mr. Golick remembers, but he knew me in the band, but I was in every club, every single thing that I could be in high school, right? And then that just kind of kept going in through everything else that I've done. Obviously, since moving back to the city, I already mentioned, being on the Parks and Rec Committee. I have 3 kids that are of Parks and Rec age, right? So they're 15, 13, and 10. We're at the ice rink almost every day. We're at the golf course almost every day. That's a new thing. The kids love golfing, and so that's we're at the golf course all the time. So Parks and Rec was a natural fit for me, right? When they asked me to do that, and so I learned a lot. I kind of came in after the first millage for the Parks and Rec, so there was some money to be spent. There was some energy. There were some things to do, and then kind of seeing some challenges that we had with COVID, right? And kind of getting purchasing and pricing and all that sort of stuff. So that was really an interesting, again, learning experience for me. And then after just recently, within the past 6 months or so, having a conversation with the mayor, he suggested, hey, maybe we move you over to the Planning Commission. And I said that, after our conversation, I said that sounds like possibly a good fit. And I'm loving it. I'm loving my time there. I do a lot of stuff professionally. So we do a lot. So one of the things I do at Wayne State is I organize our October is Physical Therapy Month. And so we do a lot of volunteering events. I coordinate what's called the PT Day of Service, where it's a global volunteering event, so it doesn't have to be related to physical therapy. So we go and we volunteer in the communities. Now, it's not always in the Downriver community because we're in Detroit, but it just has to do with service, giving back, volunteering. We do a lot of those types of things. One of the really kind of cool, interesting things I got to do professionally, I'll try to go quick, is that recently I was selected as a delegate to the American Physical Therapy Association House of Delegates. It's our policy-making body, and they hold it once a year. It's essentially very similarly run as Congress. It's Robert's Rules, parliamentary procedure.
Your time is up for that question. Thank you. Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Okay, so you've heard a lot of my life experience already. Born and raised in the city, chose to move back here. It was really never a question for us. Once we started to have our kids, we said, well, you know, we love the city. We grew up there. My wife and I met in high school, so we're both products of the Southgate school systems. We said our kids are going to go to Southgate schools, so we moved back here. We again, raising our family here, our kids go to Southgate schools, and I think that a lot of my experience as a physical therapist, as an educator, really kind of make me a good fit for this position. I think that one thing that I can really kind of lend a hand to would be, you know, kind of like the health and wellness aspect, because that's what I do for a living. As you know, I work with people on their health. It's something I believe in dearly, and so I think that that positions me really well to kind of add my voice to the council of obviously already people with varied backgrounds and experiences, but I think that that's something that I can really add to. Could you repeat the question?
Yes. Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
So again, I believe that just my education, my background, experience, all these things combined really make me qualified. Although when we were in that room over there, it was actually a really wonderful experience. I thought it was going to be everyone staring down and not talking to each other, and we all came away with the thought that, like, no matter who of us gets it, there's someone, they're getting a qualified candidate, someone that can do a really good job. So that was really an eye-opening, not eye-opening, but like just a really reassuring thing, that to say, like, wow, all these people showed up to serve. And I think that obviously I hope that you choose me, and then I think that I put forward a good background and experience. But like I said, I think that my background, education, experience, and position would really lead me to being the right choice.
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
So when it comes to goals, I kind of, in my application, talked about some of these things. The city is already in like a great position, right? Fiscally, the city's doing really well. So it's not like, there was any sort of thought of coming in and saying, everything has to change, everything, you guys are doing it all wrong. The city's in a great position. But I do think I would want to continue to look at expanding varied business opportunities. Again, that's something that very little experience, but my experience so far on the planning commission, we're opening up, not we, but like people that are opening up businesses in the city are some storage facilities and some gas stations. And it's like, that's wonderful. I mean, and businesses opening up is wonderful, but some different types of businesses that are going to be more economic drivers, more, employment drivers, that those would be, I would really like to kind of dig in, find out what everyone here is doing, and support that in whatever way I can, using my background as an educator, but most importantly as a physical therapist, and saying, okay, what can we do to improve the health and wellness of this city, right? And you can think about that, on the one end, right, and that's like the parks and rec and the programming, right? That's kind of we need to have opportunities for our kids, and then moving into the high school, right? I think that is a big area that we can maybe look at, is the city and the high school working together from maybe an employment perspective. I hear about employment challenges at different, things. Well, maybe the high school is a good place to tap into some of that talent, and we have this nice pipeline, or we have this nice work program where you can come and work for the city, and then like maybe one day that turns into the next city councilman. So just kind of getting people involved in the city, young people, getting them involved in the city, getting them interested in the city, and then on the other end of the spectrum, continuing the good programming that they have for the senior center, but again, continuing to expand that out, and just looking at making our city more walkable, making our parks more walkable, right? Just kind of more services in the parks, getting people into the parks. That's going to be one thing that really helps the health and the sense of community. You guys know that over my lifetime, the sense of community has scattered, right? It used to be where people had places they would come to, right? And we don't have that as much anymore. But I believe that some of the things that we do have, including some of the parks and rec facilities, can be some of those places.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
Well, I already did mention about being an educator, so I am very used to being unpopular amongst a crowd. So I am well versed in receiving feedback, both positive and negative. And, you know, all feedback is good feedback, right? Sometimes when we read our course reviews, we have to say, okay, let me set aside 30 minutes here, settle in, maybe, you know, pour yourself your favorite beverage and read through these course evaluations, right? Because some of them can be, well, hopefully the vast majority of them are positive, but some of them can have some criticism, but that's okay. And I tell my students, please give me all the feedback that you can, because I want to know. I want to know what you guys think I can improve on. I've implemented so many things that they've suggested, and I said, yeah, obviously that's a better way of doing it than what I did. So I'm going to take that feedback. Thank you very much. And I'm going to make it my own. So yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with criticism and feedback. As far as when it comes to the council voting, and maybe I feel very passionate about one thing, but the majority of the council thinks something else. Well, that just gives me feedback that next time I need to position or make my argument in a different way, or maybe I can look back and say, hey, you know what? I trust my 6 colleagues here, and they thought that this is the right course of action, so maybe that is the right course of action. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong here. And that's absolutely okay to kind of understand that and think that I might not always have the right answer. I try to teach that to my kids, but to them, I tell them I always have the right answer. But, we know that that's not always the case, right? So I think that feedback, criticism, that's part of it. Disagreement amongst each other, that's part of it. However, I do know that the council needs to be unified and speak with one voice at times, right? And especially because it is a public-facing entity, right? So there can't be this division and angst and factions amongst the council. So I do understand that it seems like everyone gets along. It seems like everyone's very collegial. I think that that's important as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for applying.
you,
Thank you
guys.
for coming. Please join the audience. Hello, please come take a seat at the microphone and state your name and address, and then Ms. Zelnick will begin the questions.
My full name is William Kirk Hayhurst. I go by Kirk. I live at 12391 Bedford Drive in Southgate.
I will be asking the questions, but please address council, okay?
All right, thank you.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
The motivation was some encouragement from friends and family in the city. I actually had thought of doing this earlier when you had an opening on the council and was unavailable for the interview, so I could not do it at that time. And when this came up, those people encouraged me to try again. I've lived here in the area, in the city for 40 years, and my family was raised here in the city. And so if I can be of some help or try to involve myself in the city, I'd like to try to do that.
Tell us about your community involvement.
I've served as an election inspector for the past 3 or 4 cycles. I served on the school board, it's been 8 to 10 years ago, during the time when they were in a pretty severe deficit. They elected me to the board treasurer, and I was in that position when we finally got school board, or school district, back out of deficit and back into profit. In addition to that, I've worked in banking in the Downriver area for my entire career.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Other than the experience I've had in city government, as far as the school board, as I say, I was a mortgage banker for 35 years. I currently serve as president of the board of a small church-related financial institution that specializes in mortgages and lending for churches, and I'm real estate consultant to the executive director. I think some of that financial background is always helpful on boards like this. So,
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
well, I understand the requirements of attendance. We'll certainly do that. I would want some time to get up to date on what all is going on with the city, and at that point in time, I'll take on whatever responsibilities the council wants to give me, and I will do whatever I can to try to be of assistance for the city that I've lived in.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
Well, I was a mortgage banker for 30 years. I'm used to taking heat. So I can handle that pretty well. I know what's right. I do the best I can to do the right thing. Criticism is criticism. Nobody's perfect, and nobody's always going to do the right thing and make everybody happy. You do the best you can to keep as many people as you can happy and do the right thing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
applying, and thank you for coming out for the
Okay,
interview.
That's it. Thank you.
Those 5 questions. Please join the audience.
All right.
Hello. Please state your name and address, and then Ms. Zelnick will begin the questions.
Okay, my name is Robert Lafif. My address is 16037 Poplar Street.
I'll be asking the questions, but please address council, okay?
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
Yeah, so Rob Lafif, motivated to apply. We moved here in 2020, just recently had a son, so looking to get a little bit more involved with the community. You know, the decisions that are setting up, you know, Southgate for the future. So I saw this opportunity come up previously, and I'm glad to be a part of the second chance, second go.
Tell us about your community involvement.
Yeah, so just started, you know, getting involved with the community recently. I was appointed on the Parks and Recreation Commission for the past few months. So starting to get, you know, more into what Julie's working on. You know, I saw her here. She's fantastic. Makes the commission really easy, to be honest with you. And again, just looking to expand my involvement with this role.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Yeah, so from a work professional standpoint, I've been in the automotive industry. I'm a mechanical engineer, worked for Stellantis for the last 12 years. One of the things, for those 12 years I've worked within the quality department, one of the things with quality is you don't necessarily own anything. but you're responsible for improving the quality KPIs. So you have to bring together cross-functional teams of, the engineers, the ones who own the process, the manpower, all these different groups together, and get them aligned on a common goal, which I think is something that would transfer over well to a city council role, right? Where there's a lot of different viewpoints, different opinions, but at the end of the day, we're all aligned to improve the community. So I think that experience would play into this role very well.
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
Yeah, so overall goals would just be, continuous improvement of community engagement, with the city council, with the things that are going on in the community. I think there's a lot of opportunities with commercial vacancies in the community as well. Recently a specific example, we were in Southfield and there was a physical therapist that was closing down their practice, and ironically enough, she was from Southgate. So we started talking a little bit about all of the vacancies, all of the opportunities here, and arguably much cheaper rates available in this area. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to expand some of our engagement, bring in some more businesses, and really help develop the community, set us up for the future.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
So in manufacturing and automotive, there's a lot of people that don't agree with your decisions all the time. So it's nothing personal. There was actually a book I read, The McKinsey Mind. And you have to be able to reflect on your own decisions, be able to, sometimes call your babies ugly, understand different people's point of view. And at the end of the day, we're all in this to improve the community. So sometimes you have to set your pride aside and, go with the majority vote, which is fine.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much for applying. Thank you for coming. Please join the audience.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Drysdale, was Elizabeth Curie not?
He was not here.
Okay, thank you.
Please address council, okay? Tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
I applied for multiple reasons, but a lot of it was encouragement from other people that know me and said, you should do that because you have a heart and passion for people in your neighborhood.
Tell us about your community involvement.
For 7.5 years, did work with Habitat for Humanity in Detroit, building homes on the east side. From there, I've served at my church. I'm on library commission right now. So that's what I basically have spent a lifetime being a public servant or serving other people, whether it's family, friends, things like that.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Life experience, I've always had jobs where I was either management or, sorry, I'm very nervous. In management positions, we were joking in the room when we were all over there together. I says, a lot of the time of my life, it's been my job to make everyone else look good. Because I did project management, administrative assistant, all behind the scenes work.
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
Honesty, integrity, but most of all, I just have a heart for the city of Southgate. We've been back for 20 years, and it's just, there's so many people in our city that need a voice that don't always get heard because of maybe where they live or if they're shut in. because I have a passion for a lot of our elderly, because they're sometimes marginalized.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
Well, you can't be everybody's friend. And sometimes you just have to stick to your guns and do what you believe in. And as far as negative criticism, I guess if they're talking about me, they can't talk about anyone else.
Thank you.
Thank you for applying. Thank you for coming to interview. Please join the audience. Hello. Please take a seat at the microphone, state your name and address, and Ms. Zelnick will begin the questions.
Hello, my name is Adrian Price. I live at 15192 Richmond Street.
I will be asking the questions, but please address council, okay?
Okay.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
Okay, so I guess as a little icebreaker for myself, I'll let you know a fun fact about me. I am a twin. I am married to a twin. She's here, right here. And then we have a set of twins. So it's a fun fact about me. But otherwise, I am a father of four. I have a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, 2 6-year-olds. I'm a registered nurse in the ER department for many facilities, but right now I'm at Wyandotte and Oakwood Dearborn, which is Corwell. I've been married for 15 years. I've lived in Southgate 13 of those years. I like to work out, golf, watch football, camping with the family.
Tell us about your community involvement.
So before COVID, it was a lot of voluntary stuff like ChristNet, helping out with like my kids' sports teams and stuff like that. After COVID, I kind of put a damper into like my community involvement. It's mostly right now things through work. I am part of like a disaster emergency local team. I help out, well, I haven't started yet, but in September, my boys are gonna be in what's called Rangers. I'm gonna involve myself in that. And actually that's kind of why I am here, is because I want to be more involved in the community.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
Okay, so working in the hospital, I've been on many different committees, mostly around safety. I've been, well, when my girls were in school, I was the vice president of the UGC, so that's like and that was a lot of fundraising and things, and that's.
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
Well, my goals would to have I just want the community to be prosperous because I'm raising my kids here. So I want to be part of making decisions to enhance the parks, recreation, just financial stability. I really want to be a part so that like the community could become prosperous, and I want to help out with that.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and other times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
Okay, so unpopular opinions, is that what you said?
Unpopular decision.
decisions. Okay, well, I guess I could say that opinions are subjective. No one's gonna always have the same opinion or which is gonna be the outcomes of decisions. That, I think that comes from like your experience, your viewpoints. I would just have to trust the process as far as any negative criticism.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for applying. Thank you for
Yep.
coming to interview. Please join the audience.
Okay.
You plan that?
I didn't, it's not today. They did. Hello. Please take a seat at the microphone, state your name and address, and Ms. Zelnick will begin the questions.
Veronica Genchecki, 15766 Poplar.
I'll be asking the questions, but please address council, okay? Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
Okay, so I work for Southgate Community Schools. I've been in the Southgate area on and off since 2002. I have kids.
Veronica, if you can move the mic a little bit closer to you.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I do have a vested interest. My kids are number one. I have one daughter who's gonna be maybe getting a job in the Southgate schools, hopefully. Garden City right now, but no opening. So definitely want to do more in the community.
Tell us about your community involvement.
So right now I'm not involved in too much, but we were just in there talking and I was very interested and I was the donation coordinator for ChristNet, which is a homeless organization. That was one of my labors of love. But I have since stepped away, so I definitely want to get back involved.
Tell us about your life experience and what you believe makes you qualified for this role.
I think that, my dad was an immigrant from Italy, and he was not ever able to do things like vote because he had a green card. And so he inspired me to always be involved, always, whether it be in the schools, PTO, union president, that kind of thing for Southgate schools. It's something that is just, if you can make change, if you can be part of the change instead of just always sitting back and complaining. We all have complaints, I know that. But if you can work together with people, I think that it just works so much better than being on your own island with maybe all these angry people or people that have problems instead of kind of coming together. And so I know that city council is where that starts. And so it's just always something I've kind of wanted to do. And the opportunity came around last time. I decided against it and I kind of regretted it a little bit at first. So this time I thought, I'll just go for it and see how it works.
What goals would you like to accomplish? And if selected, what can residents and city council expect from you?
I guess it would be, I would really love to see something, and I have the idea in my head, but So I know a lot of you are active on Facebook and social media, and I love it. I think it really kind of connects the residents with, I know you're really active, you're, so I see that. And as a resident for so long, I see that, and I love that you're interacting with it. And a lot of it comes with the complaints, like, why didn't the garbage get picked up? Why does my neighbor have weeds that are taller than they're supposed to, so on and so forth. And I think that it all comes out there, and maybe like having some type of like maybe I'm trying to articulate exactly like a system where, like a software system where you could kind of like put that in, because ideally we want to go to our neighbors and knock and say, hi, my name's Veronica, this is, what's happening. But the climate can be pretty rough, and sometimes you're intimidated by that, so maybe something like that would be good, just so that people don't have bad blood with their neighbors. I know that can come with a disadvantage as well, like, well, you could have talked to me first, but ideal in my head it works. But I think that if working together, I think when you have a yes board, I would be concerned about complacency. So when I watch the meetings online, I like that there's conversation. When there's not conversation, you get kind of concerned, right? Like, and so I just think that if we all work together, we're not all going to agree on the same exact thing. There's no way, and I think that's the beauty of having a diverse board. We all think differently. So, but as long as we can still come together at the end and shake hands and leave, it's great.
There will be times that you will receive negative criticism for being part of an unpopular decision, and times when the majority of council votes in a way you do not agree with. How would you handle each of these scenarios?
That's a great question. I think that you're never going to please everyone. And so say somebody comes here, for instance, I think that's what the question is asking. If somebody came here, you don't have to have an answer right away. I think it's best sometimes to say it's directed towards me or one of you. I think that it's okay to say, we're going to talk as a team, as a group, and then we'll come to a resolution. If it was directed towards me outside of this type of forum, I think that it would be good to go to either maybe a trusted person or everybody together. I don't know how you guys communicate, but maybe emailing back and forth, like, hey, this is what do you think? Because while I may think one thing is a good idea, you guys might think it's a terrible idea, and you could have your supporting documentation as to why. And then sometimes you can just be humbled and say, great point, and I have this better idea. And that, I think that works.
Thank you.
Thank you for applying, and thank you for coming to interview tonight.
Thank you.
Please join the audience.
That's one.
Hello, please come to take a seat right here at the table in front of the microphone. State your name and address. Yep, right up here. And Ms. Zelnick will begin the questions.
My name is Gary Martin. I live at 11250 Hawthorne, Southgate, Michigan.
Can you bring the mic a little closer to you, Mr. Martin? Thank you. Ms. Elnick?
I will be asking the questions, but please address council, okay?
Okay.
Tell us about yourself and what motivated you to apply.
Well, it started 5 years ago when I brought the sound wall issue to the attention of the city council. Since that time, I have regularly attended the council meetings and became more interested in my local government. I believe all of you do a good job, and I would be honored to be a part of the council. I believe I am familiar with the issues and the cities that the city is facing. And I believe I